All right, today for our Atelier talk, we have Aaron Brave, who is one of my favorite songwriters. We,
Hey,
yeah, we met at Republic of Phi in NoHo, and yeah, I'm just so stoked to have you on today. How you doing, Aaron?
man, I'm doing good, man. Doing really well. Um, just excited to be here, man. Excited to be hanging with my boy, man. I haven't got a chance to talk to you in a while, so I'm really just glad to be here. Thankful that you thought of me.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's it's wild times right now. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well. You know, it's it yeah, it's been a little crazy in LA. How's it over there in Virginia?
Man. Um, it's been really good, man. Honestly, there's um, it's not been LA for sure. Like, there's no National Guard. There's no, it's not like a whole bunch of rioting and stuff like that going on.
Mm,
There's been a good amount of peaceful protests, but mainly, man, it's been peaceful protests, which I support those, man, for real. And I'm just really thankful for everyone that's just stepping up and using, and giving their self a voice,
mm.
um, and just raising awareness in all the different ways that they're doing it and all that stuff. So, like, I'm just really thankful for that. But right around here, there has been no need for the National Guard and that kind of stuff, So it's not been like supreme lockdown. We did go through, I want to say almost like, yeah, maybe through like for like 5 days of actual curfew. But that was like earlier on when, um, I think me and you were talking before the show or whatever, and we were saying, I was telling you how, they kind of looted some stuff at the beach,
Yeah.
and and I was like, why are they looting stuff at the beach? Because it's like, it's all touristy trinkety stores, and I'm like, why did they do that?
Yeah.
But like,
It's like if
what
you're
are you
gonna
gonna
loot a
get?
store,
Yeah, man, at least get
go
something
somewhere
good, you
else.
know. So, anyways, but other than that, it's been really just peaceful, and the quarantine thing here. I'm just thankful. I really have not felt like a huge effect from it. It's as far as like, I mean, other than not being able to go into stores,
Mm,
you know. But other than that, I mean, my daily hasn't really felt like it has had a huge impact from that, which I'm really thankful for, and I feel like it's a huge blessing.
mm.
Just because, hey, so
Yeah, some people are
yeah,
going through it, so that's cool. That's
yeah,
cool. I'm glad that you're well. I'm glad that you're pulling through. It's wild. It's like it's pandemic, and then boom, this stuff happens just this
yeah,
last couple weeks. Do you
yeah,
feel
man.
like
It's
there's a
crazy how.
yeah?
Oh, good.
No, I think yeah.
I was just gonna say, it's just crazy how there's so many different perspectives right now too. Like, because I mean, I haven't. I have an uncle that lives in LA, and he's kind of told me some things. But what's your perspective about LA and stuff? How it's going
Well,
out
I
there?
mean, I can't help but think there's a connection, right, between the pandemic and between just like right the incident and then just like the after effects of it. And I
Hmm.
just feel like there's like a lot of like who knows, right? Like people didn't weren't like cooped up inside for so long. And I don't and like right humans are social beings, so I just feel like there's a lot, it's like a lot. It's hard to figure out like what to focus on and where to
Hmm.
channel our emotions right now because it's just been so long since I think we've had that interaction. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's widespread, right? I mean, you see like politically, like left, right, it's just like everyone is loud right now.
Hmm.
Like there's a lot of loud voices, and I think there are like you were saying earlier, like some really beautiful voices stepping in and stepping up, and I think from what I've seen, the majority of people um, are excited about that and are looking forward
Yeah.
to change and to growth. I mean, the first was shock. Like, are we still here in 2020? Like, this is still happening?
Oh man.
Yeah, yeah. So,
I definitely asked myself that question as far, but for me, I'm not really shocked about it, but I'm still shocked about it. You know what I mean? It's kind
mhm,
of like, you already know what's going on, as far as my perspective and stuff, I grew up. You grew up hearing about those stories, and
Mm,
you just grew up knowing that kind of stuff is happening. You got the talks at home from your parents, like you can't necessarily act the same way everybody else is acting out here. Like you really gotta, be on your p's and q's and stuff like that. There's just a difference because I grew up with my parents telling me stories about how cops were treating them, and my parents aren't really that old, and it's shocking, but at the same time it's like not shocking because it's like I'm just glad that there's video now. You know what I mean? Because it's
mm,
been happening all along. And as Will Smith said, it's just being caught on video now, which is really a good thing. At least
yeah.
that there is a raising of awareness. Even though I'm honestly, man, it's all a lot of these recent ones have been caught on video. I mean, in the past 3-4 years, it's been caught on video. But it's just like, you know, I don't know what's sparking it now is, but I don't know what's the spark of everybody really getting collectively involved.
Mm,
Maybe like you're saying, they do have more time on their hands to really like
mm,
care about it. And really, but I think that is one positive of the whole quarantine and pandemic and stuff is because it's like, hey, well, people are coming together, and I'm just really thankful for that there's an actual awareness. I don't think I've ever seen an actual awareness on this level ever. I don't like to where it seems like the people that don't have colored skin or whatever, are not of color, uh are actually like, hey, how many posts have you seen? Like, what do I got to do to learn about this? What do I need to read?
dude.
All that stuff, like, and that's I'm just really thankful for that. I am
Mm,
extremely thankful that people are actually saying, hey, I'm trying to empathize and trying to sympathize, trying to see what it's really like, trying to like, wow, there is a other side to this here,
mm,
and so I'm really thankful for just all the people that I see getting involved collectively, because I believe we're all one,
mm.
and I believe that's how it should be. But it takes some time and perspective change. So this is a good time for the perspective change because people ain't going to work.
Yeah, yeah, there's space to
yeah,
grow.
yeah, I'm
But it
really excited
feels so, it just
for
seems
that.
so conflicting and painful. There's a lot of posts too that's like, why is it a debate? Like, why is racism a debate still? It's like, what is going on?
Ah!
Uh,
Uh.
Dude, have you seen
Yeah, man.
13th? It's a
No, I
documentary.
haven't.
Dude, that
No.
was one of my buddies recommended it to me this week. Dude, it is powerful. Uh,
Mm.
um, Less about like police brutality, but the prison system and
Oh man. Oh yeah.
yeah, um, but really in detail and kind of like the progression, right, of literally since like rights weren't like rights since blacks didn't have certain rights to when
Right.
like they're able to get the right to vote, like able to go through things, and all of a sudden then like other systems change to still find a way. Man, it
Mm.
was really powerful, dude.
Oh yeah, man.
I
The
watched that.
fact that
Yeah, go on.
the fact that our prison systems are a for profit, it's just like, why are you making money off of this? How, what I mean? That's another thing, is like incentives, it's like,
Yeah.
wow, we want to keep our jails full,
Hmm.
and I think there's some other countries that have some actual real prison reform that
Mm.
could really be helpful. But I mean, but you're totally right though, man. I mean, I guess I kind of don't. If I saw 13th, I'd probably learn some new things. But there'd be some things I'd be like, yeah, of course, you know what I mean? Because all of it just kind of, it all trickles down, and it's almost like a domino effect. You're taking men out of the household, and any human being, I think people that have grown up without a man in the household, there is an effect from that. You could plenty of people have their mother around, but there's an effect from not having on women for not having their father in the household, and on little boys
Yeah.
for not having their father in the household. And there's a trickle down effect from that. And it just all goes into, oh man, just it just stacks upon stacks upon stacks upon stacks upon stacks upon, while why there is a why we have not been given a head start, why there is such thing as white privilege or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad there's so much awareness being raised, and I really do think it's going to be um, some positive and significant changes being made for them. So I'm really optimistic about it all,
Dude, I appreciate you so much, man. These are difficult conversations to have, you know?
man.
They are,
Yeah,
dude.
but
And it's
yeah,
been crazy just like how many people are stepping into this. I mean, I feel like family members even, right? It's just like you had no idea like where certain family members were at with things and kind of what reactions anyone like certain people would have, and it's kind of just like it kind of exposes like where people are at. And yeah, yeah,
yeah. If anything, I would just, if anything, I could say is the most powerful thing is everybody collectively talking about it. You
yeah.
know, I was reading a post by a white lady, and she posted on like Black Out Tuesday or whatever. It was like, hey, this is actually like silencing our voices, or whatever. She said it in her own way, and maybe could have said things a little bit better. And so therefore, then you get in her comments these people saying, "I can't believe you said that. I'm unfollowing you." Blah 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 blah. I totally disagree. Blah blah blah. And I was like, man, let me comment on her thing and say, hey. And so I wrote her a comment. I said, hey, this is awesome. Thank you for just sharing and opening yourself up for correction. You
Mm,
know, and I said, no matter what, please don't stop talking about this, because that's when it all kind of goes back to being hidden. It comes back. It starts to be like culture versus culture in a sense. It's like, well, my culture doesn't really talk about this because I don't feel qualified. And someone actually wrote a comment on her page and said, you are not qualified to
wow.
even be talking about this. And
Wow.
I was like, and I'm in my opinion, I'm like, everyone is qualified to talk about it because we need to talk about it. We have to have these conversations and open ourselves up to correction,
Yeah.
and to understanding. Because if she just stays silent because of the fear of, oh, I can't say anything about black people and black rights and stuff like that because somebody's going to jump down my throat, because you're not going to make everybody happy, but at least you can do the best you can do is to at least try to educate yourself and
Mm,
say and speak up about it and say, hey, there is something wrong going on here. I might not articulate it fully and correctly like she maybe didn't or whatever in some people's opinion, but I was just thankful that she actually stepped up and said something, and said, hey, like, this is my thoughts on this. And at least it opens up and keeps the door open for communication. Like any relationship, communication is key. And so I can, if anybody who's watching out there, keep on communicating, keep opening yourself up to communication and to being corrected. And if you feel like there's something, if you say something wrong, apologize for it. Hey, I'm just here learning. I'm really trying to learn because I love everybody. Like,
mm,
why not? You know what I mean? Like, I
mm.
want everybody to have equal rights too. I'm just trying to figure out how to, what's the right perspective about it. Because if we stop communicating, that's where all the kind of downfalls really, really come years on down the line, as has and will probably continue the vicious cycle of just misunderstood people being misunderstood.
Yeah, dude, wow, that's a beautiful perspective to have, and yeah, motivating people to speak up and keep communicating. Yeah, thanks for that, man. Dude, the I don't think I ever got a chance to tell you the baristas at Republic Pie, man. They missed you, bro. You know?
No,
I mean, I'm sure they still do now, but like I remember just like the weeks after they're like, dude, where is he at? Like this is his night or whatever, right? And it's like it's cool to see like your impact, right? Because so many people play and so many people come, and right, like it might not connect or whatever it happens, but it's cool when someone really comes in and connects with the people on a consistent basis, and you're remembered for that. Yeah.
oh man, that touched my heart. I, I really appreciate you even saying that about me, and I'm glad to hear that there was an impact. I think as songwriters, that's one of our main goals. As far as me, is to impact people, help them through something that they're going through, or just be able to relate. And so I appreciate you letting me know that, because otherwise, I kind of probably necessarily wouldn't even think about it. Didn't even know. You don't necessarily know conversations that people have while you're not there. But and there's plenty of love between me and all the baristas and stuff. But I just really appreciate that you took the time to tell me that, man. Gave me butterflies.
Well,
No,
yeah.
I'm just kidding. Gave me those tinglies.
I mean, it's a tough place, man. You don't get much feedback like actual, right, like face to face, like great job. Like no one's there doing that, right? Everyone's kind of doing their work and
Yeah.
they're, focused on their stuff. But yeah, behind the scenes, man, people, you're an inspiration. And
Hey,
oh,
thanks, man. Say the
and
same thing
and
about
Mitch,
you.
as many songwriters come in there and play, like there's no Aaron Brave. So it's truth. It's truth. But dude, talk to me about the scene out there and just, how. So are you from there originally? Virginia Beach?
Virginia?
Yeah, Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm originally from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Um, I grew up here, man. And then I went to school in Oklahoma. I lived there for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I moved. Then I just really felt like I was like, man, I felt like a big impression. I was like, oh man, God, is he telling me to move to Los Angeles? You know. So I ended up going out there, and I originally gave myself 1 year, and I was convinced to stick around for 2 years because you know my uncle was telling me, he's like, man, things don't really pop off for people that easily, in
Mm,
a sense. Um,
mm,
so yeah, man. But I grew up here in Virginia, and just kind of grew up singing. One of my uncles really just kind of taught me about singing and songwriting,
mm,
and got me my first keyboard and stuff like that. I actually started out playing piano more than anything. Well, I played saxophone in bands, from 6th grade to about 11th or 10th grade or so. Um, but other than that, man, piano was where I really started first, kind of writing songs and stuff.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you moved on to acoustic. How did that transition kind of take place?
You know, I think my uncle as well. He really, I'm really thankful for him. He really influenced me in music a good amount, and just kind of kept pushing me to drive. I mean,
Mm.
pushing me to write. And he used to live in New Jersey, so when he would come down, I would be like, oh man, I got to have a song ready, and he would kind of be like, hey man, like where's your song? Like, why aren't you writing? And so it was a good pressure that he put on me, and I really look up to him as
Yeah.
well because of his songwriting abilities and ability to play instruments and stuff. But that kind of ability to play instruments and stuff like that and sing kind of ran in the family. But I don't know if it would have happened. I don't know if I would have been a singer slash songwriter if he hadn't actually just put me one day and said, "Hey, you're singing at church."
Yeah.
And me and my three sisters. That's the first one of the first things I remember actually singing it and performing, and
Mm,
then him just kind of pushing me to little by little, just to, come into recording booth with him, and you know. So
yeah. He plays a bunch of instruments?
yeah, man. I mean, he plays guitar and he plays piano.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's just got a really good musical ear, so
Mm,
and he can play drums, play that kind of stuff. But he's a songwriter.
yeah.
And so he can pick up what he wants to, if you're recording something, you can kind of play like a rhythm if you really need to on the drums,
Yeah.
play some bass on some stuff. You might not be the funkiest bass player around or something like that, but I mean, that's how I kind of feel about myself. I'm like, if I'm recording, I can pick up one of the instruments and like I can fiddle around with it to
Yeah.
get something. You know what I mean? Something basic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Something basic.
Yeah.
And so I know you asked about the scene out here in Virginia, but that's kind of it's LA is a great place because of the proximity. You're so
Mm,
close to so many different talented people that
mm,
you are always, there's always a bass player around, there's a piano player, there's
mm,
a dope guitar player that you could get to play on some songs or something like that for you.
totally.
Virginia Beach, this area, I would say it's not as musically centered, because in LA, I mean, how many different places are there? We've gone to some
Yeah.
places together. How many
Yeah,
awesome, like,
man.
just cool, spots are there to hear music and be able to meet musicians?
Yeah.
Um, so here, I would say it's more of like a restaurant kind of scene. You can meet some people playing at restaurants sometimes, but it's
Mm,
you just gotta know the places, the spots a little bit more. But I guess you would say it's kind of a smaller scene, and so there are times where I'm just like, man, I don't really know a great bass player. I don't really know a
mm.
great drummer that I'm really trying to eat or even write. Or like that I'm really trying to pay to put put on my songs right now.
Yeah.
I'll do it myself.
Yeah, man. Hey, then you get to jam a little more and
And
Yeah.
then if I'm really extremely frustrated with what I did, then I'm like, all right, Aaron, you might just have to fork over some money for this.
For sure. I think I saw a bit earlier, you were on a new not a, maybe a news channel, or you were on, it was a broadcast of some type, live, right? Live
Mhm.
video. Yeah, tell me about that
Okay.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's like a morning show,
Yeah.
and so I just got asked to play on there. I've gotten asked to play on there a couple different times.
Cool.
Just some original songs and stuff like that. I believe I probably played there's one song called I can't remember what I played, but the chorus is "He
I
can't love
feel
me like I
you
do."
can't love
I don't
you.
know. I
Yeah,
don't
bro.
remember. I don't know if I titled it that in iTunes. I can't remember right now.
Bro, you wrote that song in LA, right? I think
I
it was,
did.
I think I was like, yeah, I was around for that one. Yeah. Because you, right, you like probably played it at Republic Pie, like
Yeah, man. I
debuted or
played it a good
something
amount
there,
of
you
times.
know? Yeah, and then
Yeah,
played
for
it.
sure.
That's a big song, bro. That's a big vocal right there.
Oh man. Yeah, man. I was Republic of Fight has really been a good spot for me to really test out some songs, you know. But
Yeah.
it's not like you necessarily know sometimes what the impact is, like you were saying earlier, because
It's your
like some
own
people are
impact,
just like
right?
they're just working on the computer. Sometimes they'll lift it and give you a little clap or something like that, and sometimes it's just dead silent. And, it's like, but I really think I'm really thankful for those moments at Republic of Pie, just because like where you don't necessarily always get a response or whatever, because it
Mm,
just kind of reinforced that I should have a love for what I'm doing,
yeah.
no matter who claps, who doesn't clap,
Yeah.
um, and so it just reinforced it. Like, hey, man, I'm the kind of guy. I'm just kind of like, hey, if I like it, it's good enough.
Mm,
And I think there needs to be, for me personally, there has to be a little bit of that. Like, if I like it, it's good enough, because otherwise you compare your voice to other people, or you're saying like, if I wanted to rap on a song, I'm like, man, I don't have the voice of a rapper.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what is it? I was talking to my fiance the other day, like
What?
literally, like I was telling her kind of the same thing. I was like, what is the voice of a rapper anyways? Like, how do you know if you got a great rap voice? It's mainly because I think we hear these things on the radio,
Mm,
and they're just over they're played repeatedly. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
eventually you're just gonna start singing their song. Like
Yeah.
they literally just like continue to repeat the same songs over and over again. And you're like, wow, that's great. And then that becomes the new standard, you know?
Yeah. We're like trained, or
Yeah.
it's yeah. And that goes with like, right, dress too, right? Like people get insecure about like what they're wearing, but it's like, what are you doing? Like you're comparing, right, to that same thing, and everyone's like, you should look like this, you should dress like this.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
it's like, do you like what you're wearing? Like, do you feel good? You feel
Right.
stoked? Like, do your thing.
Yeah, man. For real. That's the kind of stuff that just kind of makes you you. Yeah.
Hmm.
What about you in Republic of Pie? Do you kind of usually open up some new songs there?
Oh, dude, that's, yeah, it's my favorite spot. I think, like you said, it's not that great of a spot to test like externally, like whether like other people are gonna like it necessarily, but it's still a test for whether you like it. And I think it's more than like if I'm just in my room playing it, right? And I feel like I like it, because I can like skip over that one melody that's like a little too high
Hmm.
or whatever, right? But then when you get in front of a live audience in a setting like that, where you're still like having to cater to the circumstance, and you want to do a good job, and you're in a microphone or whatever, so and then you realize really quickly, like, it's too high. Right, like if I play this again, I'm gonna bring it down a capo or two.
Yeah, man. Right.
So it's so valuable in that sense, right? I mean, dude, for me, really valuable, because I was just playing that, right? Just like you were, like every week. And I was probably writing, not great songs or whatever, but songs, right? Probably at
Uh,
least two or three a month, right? Just like,
uh,
just going, just kind of naturally, not forcing it. And then this pandemic hit, and I haven't been playing live for the first time in years, like consistently. Um, we've been recording all this stuff, But dude, yeah, I haven't written much at all. I think I've written 2 or 3 songs like this whole period.
I hear you.
So I think what's happening, right, is I'm not getting that like feedback, that same feedback. Because every time I play there, I'm like, during my set, I'm like, I wish I had more songs that made people happy. And
Yes,
you
I
feel
hear what
that
you're
for an
saying.
hour, like a whole hour, you're like, I need more happy song or whatever it is. I need
Yeah,
more whatever. And then you go home and you do it. Your body's like, dude, if you want to play there again, you better write another whatever song.
right.
Yeah. Then you do it.
Yeah, for sure. What's another one of your favorite venues out there in LA?
Dude, Hotel Cafe.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Bro, that's just like
Yeah.
an actual real show, you know? It's like Republic of Five, but it's actually like a real thing where you can have like a CD release
Oh
and like
man, yeah.
promote it, you know, and you can get paid.
Small room or big room?
Dude, both, but the small room sounds sick. I like the small room.
Woo! Yeah, small room man is my absolute favorite. Man.
Yeah.
That's my favorite, probably my favorite venue that I've ever been to in LA.
Dude.
Just as far as like sound and
Yeah.
intimacy.
Yeah.
Ah, jeez.
I like the stage size on the big one. That was kind of big for us. We had 7 different people, man, on the stage. It was fun, bro. Yeah, we had a
That's
violin,
awesome.
cello, and the uprights there too, right? So you can kind of like go back and forth between, and it's easy, right? The sound is nice and
The
drums.
amount of talent that comes through there, it's just it's unbelievable. It's really incredible, man. And it's just like wow, like wow. I'm just so glad I got to experience. You like walk away, especially in the small room. I feel like I've had a lot of good experiences in the small room. The
Mhm.
bigger room too. I've gotten to see some like really cool some of my favorite artists. Um, but the small room is like you just can. It just almost feels like you really can feel some people's like just man like they're real intent
Spirit,
when they love
bro.
that song and they're yeah it's like man
It's so spiritual.
yeah,
It's so spiritual. I mean, that's why I songwrite. I mean, I don't. Did you get to go to the Greek theater while you were out here?
it's pretty big though, right?
It's big. Yeah, we haven't.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. It's up in the mountains. Well,
yeah.
not in the mountains, but like up in the. I
Griffith
feel like I got
Park area.
Griffith Park. Okay, yeah. I
Hollywood
think I saw
Bowl.
Lauren. I saw Lauren Hill there.
Oh,
I
at the
believe.
Greek or Hollywood
Yeah,
Bowl.
I believe so. I might have been Hollywood Bowl.
So
I
Hollywood
think that's
Bowl is
where it was.
bigger. It's big,
Okay,
right?
okay.
And it's like bench seating. So the Greek is probably like half, I think half the size,
Okay.
but it's the same idea, right? It's this bowl, and then it's just carved into the mountains. It's such a beautiful idea. And it gets
Uh,
dark, and you look up at the stars, and that's
ah,
why I
that's
play
so cool.
music, bro. That place.
Yeah.
That's literally why I play. What is
Have you guys gotten to perform there?
no, no, no. That's like
Okay.
that
It's coming.
that's the beacon, you know? That's been like the lighthouse. It's like we're always like, hey, should we, make this song or should we add a member? Should we spend money on a mic? And it kind of keeps us, it's like, does this support that goal, right? Of like having that show with whatever, it's like 2,000 people in this intimate vibe and like allowing people or providing the space for people to have an intimate like spiritual experience where they can change their lives for the better.
Yeah, man. You have I feel like, I mean, your experience is kind of unique to me because I'm a solo artist, but you are working alongside a whole band and like it seems like you guys work collectively as like a family making decisions and all that kind of stuff.
Mm.
I would love to hear some of your perspective on that. Like what's that like for you? Because I've never like had my own full. I've had shows where I've had to practice beforehand with the band and got it together so we all knew the songs that I was playing and all that kind of stuff. Or I was playing
Yeah.
original music like that, but never a band that stuck together. Like that's like the stuff movies are made out of. You guys are
Mm.
sticking together and like it seems like it's a really cool thing for you.
Dude, bands are wild, man. When we went into the Ateliers, like I had a lot of mentors and close people be like be careful, bands are tough. 'Cause we actually started just under my name, right? Like I was a solo artist, just
Okay.
writing songs in my room, doing that.
Hmm.
Um, but I played in bands before, and I had that experience where it was like, yeah, bands are really tough. Like it's inevitable that people are gonna leave, and that it's really hard to transition correctly, and then to keep the same sound with different people.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
a lot of difficult things with a band, and so I kind
Hmm.
of had made the decision of doing it myself and just seeing where it goes. And I made 3 EPs and then put it together as an album, and just that process. These right, Sam, Daniel, Brandon had just come to me at different points in time and been like, hey,
Okay.
like something that you're doing with is, I felt they're like saying it's theirs, like
Uh-huh.
I get this, and this is, I resonate with this. And so it just made sense, right? I mean, they were already doing it. They were already um whatever it was, playing clarinet and singing, and wanted to share that message. And so yeah,
Okay.
man, we're all like, we all challenge each other to songwrite, right? The song we're putting out next month is Sam's song. Like she wrote it by herself.
Oh.
That's the first time that, like, right, it's we're other songwriters are releasing like their own songs, and then like I and the rest of the band back them up.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what you're right. That's the movie. That's like Beatles, that's like
That's so cool,
Eagles.
man.
That's like crazy stuff. And man, it's been a very patient process. Every single person in the band has taken a break, right? Just
Mm.
like from Republic Pie, from finance, stuff, from all these things. But going into it, we all decided like the Ateliers, isn't about one person. It isn't about four specific people, five. It's just about like the connection and the collaboration of like music that helps people change their lives for the better. And
Oh man.
so right, it's like I hope, I'm like looking forward to that time where they're playing shows without me, because that like solidifies that message. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, and I think that process will probably enable you guys to keep on going too, because it's like helps. It's like everybody morphs and kind of gets a voice, and it's like a collective thing, and not just necessarily I'm the lead singer and blah 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 blah.
Oh,
I think that's kind
yeah.
of stuff that kind of really tears down. If I had to imagine, because like I said, I've never been a part of a full band like that. Uh,
Mm.
but yeah, man, I think that's pretty awesome. So does everybody like just chip in like money wise and all that kind of stuff? Is that like how you
Yeah,
guys?
man.
That's
So
how did you guys end up setting all that up? Like that's really cool.
time, dude, it's been about 5 years, right? So it's
Okay.
just waiting for those conversations, not for the conversations to like have to be done, like
Hmm.
a problem comes up, but just waiting for that time that we're together in a rehearsal where like someone just mentioned something like, hey, why don't we have merch? Whatever it is, right? And then like it just flows. And so I think like we meet consistently, and that's been really important.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
but there are ways to get around it, like a lot of solo artists or a lot of bands, right, go through publishing, go through labels, go through that. And something that we're pretty set on as a band is that we're going to do it independent, and we're going to build each other up, and get like, everyone's going to have the roles that we're looking for, right? when when we're up for the task, right? So sometimes people do marketing like in the band, right?
Hmm.
We all try and like share that load. So instead of like splitting the publishing with a label or with recording artists, right? Like we split the publishing for the songs. It's things
Okay,
like that.
cool.
Yeah. Have you thought about like that experience, like with the band and everything? Like, do you think that that would be something you would pursue in Virginia Beach?
You know, I don't know. Because I probably could have a changing perspective, but right now I'm just at like I'm at a place where I'm just like if I want to put it out, the song out, I'm gonna put the song out. in
Mm,
a sense. Like,
exactly.
I feel like for me personally, I've done a good amount of waiting on it and waiting and waiting and waiting. Oh, it's not perfect yet. I gotta wait till I get the greatest producer. I gotta wait till I get, someone that can really give me the sound like I really want it.
Yeah.
And I really try to have been trying to just kind of rid myself of that having to wait till it's perfect mindset.
Yes.
Um, just because I mean, at one point in my life, I was like, oh man, like your first impression is everything, which I believe there is truth to that,
Yeah.
but whose first impression is always going to be perfect, and maybe I just don't want to wait too long. I just want to be enjoying it and enjoy the growth process of it all, so maybe I put out my first songs and stuff like that. Not a whole bunch of people are listening to it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine, and maybe I look back on it like, dang, that could have been a lot better,
Mm,
um, if only I hadn't known what I know now about recording or something like that. But I'm just trying my best to really just enjoy the process, man.
yes.
And so I guess with the band, I would say there's a lot of different voices, which I'm fine hearing wisdom,
Mm,
from people. But I guess like I just want to keep going.
yes.
I feel
Yeah.
like if I'm in a band or something like that, people will be like, nah, let's not put it out now. Let's
Yeah.
not do that. Let's not do this.
Yeah.
Oh, this is not a good enough song. All that kind of stuff. And I mean, for me personally, I haven't felt the urge to necessarily be in a band or, want to necessarily be in a band.
Yeah.
But I think it would be really helpful, man, to really have like people that knew other things, like were a better bass player than I am, or better
Mhm.
drummer, they're better guitar players, and all that kind of stuff. Um, but right now, in the way I'm trying to do it is just kind of like I just kind of try my best to put out music that feels good to me, and I
Yeah.
feel like will make a difference and impact people. Right now, I've been putting out a couple of different worship songs
Cool, man.
to help people kind of get in the mood of worship and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. I'm a Christian, so I've
Yeah.
been putting out some music kind of like that, just to
Mm,
really just help people through these tough times, and just give them a sense of hope and peace,
yeah.
about some things. But those songs that I've put out, they're really, really extremely simple, because
Mhm.
I'm not the greatest producer in the world. So what my motto has been is right now has just been like, keep it simple, and I'm just doing what I can,
Yeah.
until the other pieces kind of come into play, and the attitudes in our spirits really connect and feel like, oh
Mm,
wow, we're supposed to be working together, guys.
yeah.
You know, as far as that goes along. But you know, so yeah, so I've kind of I don't know if I've necessarily like just thought of like I want to be a part of a band, but I always thought like, man, it would be great to know some people that could really just be like amazing bass players on this song or amazing whatever that aren't charging an arm and a leg to record this
Exactly.
mess. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so that's the thing. It's like, some of these people, are just it's just like I said, charging an arm and leg from for just I'm just getting started on
Yeah.
some stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one thing, but like I said, I think the right people, just like you have found like the right people. The right people will come along.
Exactly.
Um, but as of right now, I think I'm just in a place where I just gotta keep going, and I don't necessarily want a whole bunch of other people telling me when I can and cannot put out my music. You
Come
know what I mean? Because it comes from a personal place.
Yeah.
Music to me is a very personal thing that I feel like I'm putting out something that is helping other people relate.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like a part of me.
Mhm.
And so when people are that necessarily, especially if I'm writing the song. This is another thing if somebody else is writing the song or something like that or
Yeah.
whatever. But if
Yeah.
I wrote the song and I feel like, oh man, this song is just really just grabbing me for this very moment, and I don't care if it's necessarily the most pristine, perfect sounding thing ever,
Yeah.
because just as kind of we were talking about a little bit earlier, like what is the standard? The standard just becomes what's kind of repeated in people's heads, and
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I don't want to. It all stems from not wanting to over critique myself.
Mm,
Like, hey man, because I could over critique myself into never putting out any music ever.
yeah.
And so it's just I'm trying to stay away from that kind of atmosphere of
Yeah.
over critiquing and wanting things to be perfect, because it's like I don't know if they'll ever be necessarily perfect,
Yeah.
and and the people that I'm if you put out perfect music, so to speak, whatever that means, I don't think most people don't necessarily use that, but I feel like in the back of their minds they want it to sound exactly like they want it to sound,
Totally.
but if I think sometimes when I started to really evaluate how I wanted it to sound, it was stuff that would sound good to people that knew music and really were like musician type people, or people that like were just extremely detailed into music. Oh man, that's a really nice hi-hat.
Mm.
Like, but I feel like majority of the culture, or majority of the population of the world, they don't necessarily care about that. They kind of just want to hear a nice bass, a nice drum track, or
Yeah.
whatever, and like a nice
Yeah.
little groove or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and let that be. Or some people, everybody's got their different styles or whatever, but you know, I like I said, I could over critique myself into not putting out music, and I don't want to be in a necessarily at this moment. I don't feel the urge to be in a band because I think there could be some over critiquing going on. And I'm like, man, we
Mm.
just got to put this stuff out. So if I met someone with the same kind of gung ho spirit as I have, in a sense of like, let's just put this stuff out. It doesn't have to necessarily be perfect. Let's do the best we can, and let's get it out there, and let's get it out there with no fear about it, because
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately feel like it's serving a higher purpose, a higher calling
Mm.
of being able to impact people, man, and really make a difference in their lives. So I feel like the more I wait about it, honestly, I feel like, man, shoot, it's just like the devil trying to slow me down. You know what I mean?
I feel that, man.
He's
I
trying
feel
trying
that.
to stop me from putting out good things into the world, And
Yeah.
I think the fans will grow along as I grow,
Yeah.
and slow and steady is the way I'm taking it. I guess just kind of try to consistently put out some stuff when I
Talk to me about
come up.
that process, man. Like, or I'm sure it's different. Maybe it's different every time, but yeah. So just kind of sounds like it's kind of coming from your gut. You write a song, but talk to me. How does that unfold typically these days?
Um, even in I guess if I'm writing like a pop type of song,
Mm-hmm.
or if I'm writing, it just depends. I think they come from a lot of different places,
Mm.
man. There's a song that I could just like, the He Can't Love You Like I Do song. That came from like a deeper place where it's like, oh man, I'm really experiencing this, and this is like, it really just came straight from my core.
Yeah.
And like I was like, all right, like those are the lyrics, because they felt those genuine to me, and they felt realistic to me.
Yeah.
um and it just came out because it was a way of releasing some of the pain that was being felt.
Mm.
And I was thankful for it too. Like we kind of talked about, like when you got go through some stuff, you're like, man, at least I got a good song about it. But you're like that, and then you're like, man, well, at least I got a good song out of it, and at least hopefully this will help someone else.
Mm.
That message of that song is like, value what you have before it's gone. In a sense,
Yes.
you got to know what you got before it's gone.
Mm.
But so if I'm writing a song like that, then that's kind of they just came out through experience and just wanting to
Yeah.
sit it down. But you know, then if I'm writing like a pop kind of dance song, there's one song I kind of wrote
Mm.
recently. It's called "I Want to Make You Move," and I kind of just felt like a nice little groove on the guitar. And I don't honestly, I don't remember my whole process with writing that. So I'll say what I think I probably did was just allow myself to just say stuff. One of my favorite things that kind of John Mayer is one of my favorite songwriters, and
Yeah.
so I've listened to some of his talks, and you know, his he says one thing. I could be butchering it, but I'm pretty sure I'm good at it.
Yeah.
He says, you know, that won't work. Should never be the answer, right? But that didn't work is okay. You can live with that.
Mm.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Can you
but
say,
he's like, but that
can you
that
say that
didn't work.
again?
Yeah, that didn't work is a whole new thing. Like you can, at least you tried it. And so even when songwriting, no matter what, I try not to. Again, I try not to over critique myself. Like I try to let myself be silly. Because if you're just like rapping or singing a song in the shower, have you ever written a good melody or something in the shower, and it's like, dang it, man, I wish I had my phone here to record
Yeah,
whatever the heck I just said,
yeah,
because you were just like not really caring about it. You weren't even thinking it was going to be a great song.
yeah,
You were just kind of like singing about something silly or singing about something that somebody just said to you or whatever it was. And
yeah.
like, dang it. And so what happens to me, I'm like, dang it. And then when I go and try to write down the lyrics or try to re-sing the song, I start thinking, oh, that wouldn't work here. That won't work
Mm,
there. That won't work there. And it just kind of messes up the whole vibe of the song because I'm not letting it flow. I'm not letting myself just kind of be silly.
yeah,
I guess another thing I do is I'll like hum stuff,
yeah.
you know, and just kind of like I'll record a hum or something like that, and like just kind of let it flow and let it go wherever I feel like it will go, and like again, not over critiquing that kind of thing, and just kind of letting it go, and then I'll try to come back and put some like lyrics to it or something like that, but or just like try to like say it off the cuff,
Yeah,
and just press the record button and say it off the cuff and have fun with it, for like poppy songs or something like that.
totally.
Worship songs is
Yeah,
another. Um, that's that comes from a more spiritual place, and I'm really just trying to I get like that. Those sometimes some of those songs really just come from um, where I'm at with God at the moment, or
mm,
I'm just sitting there and literally just worshiping. And I think worshiping is a really powerful thing. But those words I say will kind of end up, just I just hope they register with someone else, But I'm not really thinking about necessarily writing a worship song when I write it. For the
mm,
most part, it's kind of just like, let me get here and let me just sing some worship. I'll press record, God, and like let's see what happens. And if some good things come out of it or not, whatever. But I like the songs, and ultimately, I'm like, if I like it, I'm cool with it, and
yeah,
that's fine. And if I like it, I'm sure there's got to be somebody out there in the world that could identify with it as well. I'm not the most odd thing ever. I don't think any of us are the most odd thing ever. It's like
yeah.
there are some people that are I don't mind saying if I like it, it's okay, because I believe that we all have our kind of niche. There's people that identify with the things that you say, and that I believe that we're here on earth for to help out and to make a difference in their lives.
Mm.
So I just kind of go with that. I'm like, man, that felt good to me. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put that one out.
Yeah, it sounds like a theme there is almost like quieting the mind in order to express some sort of truth that's in that creative process. Do you have like ways that you've found helpful to kind of get to that place of a quieted mind?
Um, Honestly, I just think it takes time. I think it has
Mm,
taken me time to just realize what works and what doesn't work for
mm,
me personally. And I also try not to put too much pressure on writing a song right then and there. That's why I try to like blow off the cuff with some things sometimes too. Just like I think the song would go, I was like just keep like letting myself hum or something like that, and just try to do whatever it is, but without critiquing. I'll
okay.
say words without critiquing. I won't. I try not to think, oh man, that was whack. Dang, that was a stupid word. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
dumb. Blah blah blah. Until like I'm like at that stage where the song. I try not to let myself over critique words and stuff like that until the song, in a sense, until like the melody is written,
Mm,
until like the gist of the song of how I feel about this is written, like what the
yeah.
gist of what I was feeling is written, you
Yeah.
know and then I'll go back and like, okay, this could be a little bit better here, but if it still doesn't feel good, if the original thing felt good, I might still go with the original thing.
Yeah.
So yeah. But
You,
what about you, man? Tell me about that
it's pretty,
songwriting.
it's definitely that quieting of the mind, and I think music was the first thing to do that, right? Just like looking for a chord progression that just calmed me down, or now
Hmm.
it's been just like exploring instruments, right? Like this little guy. It's like
Hey.
so quickly. Like up
For
there.
real, man. Yeah.
So quick. It's so quick. There's this guy, his name is Wim Hof. Have you heard of him? He's the Iceman. He's broken like 20 Guinness World Records or something. Um, and it's basically like he's able to bolster his immune system by doing like crazy breathing techniques
Hmm.
and then exposing himself to the cold. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's like climbed Mount Everest in like shorts, and he's like swam under the ice for like 100 feet or yards, ridiculous stuff. And then he claimed the best part, he's like German, he's super intense. And the best part is that he's just like, everybody can do this. Like,
Does he have a big beard?
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like I've seen a video of him in some sort
Being
of form or
stupid.
fashion.
He's always just jumping like in a bucket of ice and just being like, I
Yeah.
love the cold. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, so what's really cool about he kind of did it, and it was feeling good and helping a lot of people. And then he's really interested in science. And so they ended up doing a bunch of brain scans, as he was doing his thing, right?
Hmm.
And so they saw that, right, like parts of his brain were being activated, like the fight or flight. And that was basically like building his immune system so that he
Hmm.
could like fight endotoxins, like they injected like infection into him and he didn't get sick. And right, like every other
Wow.
person that didn't do the techniques got sick. Anyways, crazy guy. But kind of where I'm at right now is that I think,
You're about to start jumping in ice tubs and getting injected and stuff.
well, I tried that for like a month and like it was fine, but like music's better, dude. Songwriting is better. That's where I'm at. And but we got to get the science. I know people have done brain stuff about music and we see that it's like fireworks. It's this beautiful thing that's happening. But I think there needs to be more science done about the songwriting process and why it helps people become aware of themselves, like more than they could have found
Yeah.
just by thinking. Like they couldn't have thought through that pain or got to that conclusion without that process. So I want to know what's going on when we're just sitting there mumbling words. Like what is going on? So yeah, but that's my process. Yeah, just like wait,
Sit,
yeah.
sitting in an ice bucket.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me what your process. You didn't never really tell me. You just kind of, or were you saying you're just, yeah, trying to get to that peaceful place?
Yeah, so typically a chord progression will take me to that place.
Okay.
And I feel it. It's I forget the technical term, but it's that fight or flight part of your brain and certain brain waves are happening. And now I'm aware of it. I'm like, oh, that's it. And that's why like hitting this thing, I feel it really quickly, which is really
Are,
cool.
are you? Are you? Would you say you? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no worries.
Okay. Were you? Would you say you're like? I know in the beginning you said you're looking for things that kind of like calm you down. Are you naturally like a person that is not calm? Because you strike me as a really calm person.
Dude, that's because you met me after songwriting.
Okay.
Dude, I used to scream in a metal band. That was what I did.
Wow.
And that was
Okay.
because, right? Like I wanted to get the rage and like this angst out of me, and that was the only way I knew how. So I'm like a little tiny person like in a mosh pit, like getting destroyed because I'm like, you know, you know.
What?
But I just like,
Yo.
right. So it hasn't always been that way. I think making songwriting a consistent part of my life has given me peace, real peace. And there's so many ways to find it, right? Like you can find it in physical exercise and eating, in all these different things. But music has played a really, really important role.
That's awesome. And how did you get started songwriting?
Um, I started writing lyrics.
Wait, take me. Okay, take me through the screaming mode, and then take me to how you got to here, because that's really interesting to me, man. I never knew that.
It's so growing up, I was told I was tone deaf, right? So that was really difficult for me, just because I think I'm very auditory, and then I also just love music so much. And so just being who I am, I was told I was tone deaf, but I was like, whatever. If I can't sing, like I'll just scream, and then the lyrics, the message will still come out through screaming. And then that kept progressing. And then I got in a band called Silent Planet, and there were two of us screamers, and the other screamer was like, dude, what, like you could totally play keys, like you love music. And that was the first person that gave me permission basically to
Wow.
play music. And he's one
How,
of my best friends today, Garrett. Um,
Do you remember how you felt when you were like in the screaming band? Do you feel like there was a lack of peace there, or did it still bring you peace?
uh, yeah, the process of writing lyrics and screaming, it did, right? But like, I think it's great and it's really needed. That whole community of hardcore and metal, and I get it, and I think it's so important. Um, but there is a lot of angst and there's a lot of uh, like dark energy there.
Mm,
And for me, like playing in that band, they're still a band, like they're touring all over the place, right? And but for me, I had to transition out of that stage of my life because being in that place, especially if we're touring full time,
mm.
being in that kind of energy in that world for 7 days a week, right? Like I just wanted to smoke cigarettes, man. I just wanted to drink. I just needed outlets from that outlet.
Oh, wow, okay.
It was an outlet and it did really good for a while, but I was still reaching. It still wasn't giving me that full that like that presence, the awareness, the peace. And so, dude, then I started singing, right? I mean, like, and that was like a message from the mystery that is God. Just straight me in the car, voice. That was beautiful. And I sang and I was like 20, dude. So anyways, right, I mean, it's just that one note, and then after that I got permission, and that permission was above any human voice, because that was the problem up till then. No one told me I could sing, and then I was like, oh, I don't need humans to approve of me to sing. And then yeah,
So you felt that permission when you were in the car, you're saying?
yeah. I mean, it came through my thoughts, right? But it definitely, if it was my voice, it would have been like, you suck, you're tone deaf, you don't have a nice voice to even begin with, and you can't hear, you know you can't tell the difference
Right.
between your mom's voice and your dad's voice.
Mm,
That was the voices that were in my head till I was 19 years old. And then
mm.
after that moment, it was like, you were born to create through singing, through melody, and other people um, will also experience freedom through this too.
Wow, that's so cool, man. Who told you were tone deaf?
Uh, Family.
You don't have to
I
get
don't have to
into
get
it.
into
Yeah,
specifics. It's
yeah.
all
Okay.
good now. Everything's been like mended. Everything's understood. I
I
think,
was just wondering. I was mainly
yeah,
wondering if you went to like an actual doctor for that kind of thing.
yeah,
You know.
no, no. It was just,
Okay.
but it was blood, right? And it was like, but it's crazy, right? It's like in the beginning, you're angry when people take things away from you, but then I feel like there can always be this process of like, where did that come from? And just recently I feel like I had this revelation that like, man, the people closest to me were really trying to protect me from like a really difficult life, and they did everything they could to make sure it wasn't like an illusion of mine, right, or some fantasy,
Yeah.
because dude,
Right.
the music industry is hard, and it is competitive, and right, um and how can you know if someone's wired to be the
Yeah,
way
man.
they are. Things
Yeah, man.
unfold, and I'm happy the way they've unfolded. So no complaints, brother.
Yes, man. I always say, hey, like I say, if Macy Gray can do it, anybody can do it. I love
Yeah.
Macy Gray's voice, but also what I'm saying is that that's not the typical singing voice,
Mm,
and people are tell me all the time. They're like, oh man, they're like, I can't sing. Like I wish I could sing like you. I'm like, that's the problem. You're trying to sing like somebody else.
mm,
It's you finding your own voice, finding the sound in you kind of that like resonates to you, and not trying to be someone else.
yeah.
That's all singing is. I believe we all can sing.
Mm.
That's why I say like literally, I'm like, yo, if Macy Gray can do it because she has the I tried to say it. That's and to some ears, that's like, what the heck is this? But then somebody said, hey, this is a beautiful thing, and like, let's record this. This is awesome. This is unique. And
Yeah.
so she found her own voice in in appreciating her uniqueness.
Yes.
John Mayer has a very unique voice too.
Yeah.
I mean, he can do some of the typical, I guess, people who could sing stuff, you know, but at the same time, his voice is so unique, and
Definitely.
you can't try to be like anybody else. And that's why I tell everybody, I'm like, man, you know, you can sing. Yeah, I don't care what you say. You can. It really. I think really what it is the fear. It's just the fear of not sounding like someone else that you hear that the society says that can sing.
That's
And
right.
so, you know, I fear will kill you. Fear will
Yeah.
kill the dreams, man. Fear's a dream killer. But okay, so wait, I don't want you to finish this story because I mean I want you to finish the story because this is really cool. I never did not know that. So you're in the car. You have the. It
Yeah.
was it. Did it seem like it was an experience or
Oh,
what?
dude,
Like what? Do you remember what song you were singing?
that was the experience. It was still a metalcore song.
Oh,
It was like Alexis on Fire or something, right? But the thing is, the guitarist sang, and
uh,
he sang really high. And right, I just decided that I was just going to. I heard the song a million times, but I never sang with it. And I just decided this was the time. I'm gonna everything I have, I'm doing it. There's a Taco Bell right there. I'm safe. If I have a horrible time, I'm gonna get myself a couple chicken burritos or whatever the heck I ate then.
right,
Easy gordita crunch. Oh, you bet I remember that.
right, for real.
Those are the good times. Yeah. And dude, I mean, for the first time, like you know what it feels like every day. You hit that note and everything gets bigger.
Wow.
You get in there and it starts to resonate, and your voice gets bigger, the song gets bigger, and because your frequency gets in, it mixes in there. Um, it's so hard to describe, right? It's like it's such a beautiful experience, and I hadn't experienced it till I was like, almost 20. Like I was almost done developing, dude. And I hadn't done, I think, what every human should get the opportunity to experience early on, resonating,
Yeah.
like feeling connected to the universe. That's what music does for me. So dude, that just, it embarked me, right? That was like, that one night was enough to just send me every day into whatever instrument, whatever kid, right, that has that drive. There was a kid running around the drums today. We took out the synthesizer, and you just see, man, this kid when he came in, like it was chaos, right? Like he was just like hitting stuff and like trying to pull the didgeridoo off the wall, right? Like, and as soon as he saw the opportunity of different instruments in this room to just like learn and like to be entirely stimulated, he calmed down. He calmed down. And
Man.
he put headphones on and played the synthesizer today, and he never touched it before. And just to see like this chaos that so many people don't understand and see as like childish, when really like they're yearning for life and for growth and for
Yeah.
exploration. And I think music, it's so much. It's so much, yeah. Um, so
I think I think it also to add on to that, I think it gives us the ability. It's like if you hit a note or on the piano or something like that that sounds good to you, it's like it almost feels like, wow, I played a part in creating this. You
whoa,
know, and I think we're all, you know, put on this earth, I believe, to be creative, you know,
yeah,
to continue to create, you know, create good things, create new things. That's
yeah,
a part of our, I think, human beings' DNA. You
yes,
know, I think that's a part of all of our purpose. Um, and so when you can like I think instruments and music is an awesome way to feel there a touch of creativity flowing through you because it's like I could put together something that sounds really good to
hmm.
me, you know, and I could put together something that makes me feel something. Wow, you know, that's it's a I think it's a really powerful thing. So
Dude,
yeah,
what
man,
a time, man. This has been
yeah,
so good, dude. It's been cool. Like almost everyone I'm interviewing, it really seems like, like this has been really cool to catch up and just to learn more from each other. Like we all have certain common grounds, um and then just like new things that we're exposed to that were like new perspectives. And so I'm really wanting to just like every time, when you release a song, like hit me up, and we'll talk again and just kick it, you know, and support each other.
Sure, for
I
sure.
if you come back through LA, dude, come through the spot. Maybe we'll get to talk like in person, you know. Uh,
Yeah, man.
all right, bro, dude, it's been real,
It has been real. Thank you for having me on here, man. You last words for me is just you really do bring that goodness out of people. You bring that good solid conversation ability and just you open up space for communication, man. And I really do, like the your band and everything. I think your mission and purpose is what you say it is. Is really just to just really impact people's lives and help them to change in a positive way, man. So you're awesome, and I really appreciate you as a friend, man. Thank you for thinking of me. I'm so honored to be on this show with you, brother.
bro. We'll talk soon next
All
time.
right, man.
All right, bro.